And Paul.
Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn you can have too much teenage others.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me as always is Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. And also Corey Pepper. Corey, still on Cloud 9?
I am floating on Cloud 9, to be honest with you.
We want to keep you there, man.
Thanks.
We want to keep you there. All right, so this was an interesting episode, guys. This was
The title?
What was the title?
The title, I Know Jennifer's Boyfriend, which kind of gives you a clue of who we're focusing on pretty much for this entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the show went to being like a kiddie show almost, like a
Nickelodeon or Disney type of show.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the kid is the lead of this. That happened. I mean, we're only 3 episodes in, and that's already happening. So let's just jump into the beginning. It starts off in the kitchen, and
it starts off. Wait, one thing.
Sorry.
Cold open.
Yeah, no cold open on this.
So you know that this is going to be an action-packed episode. They had to get rid of the cold open because there was a lot of drama that they have to get to.
This one starts with just scene 1. We don't have a cold open then the credits on this one.
No, just the credits. Credits in the.
Yeah.
And do they go back to it in the future? Do they go back to the cold open?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so too. I think this was just like, hey, we got too much to get in on this one, which I don't know what editing choices they were making.
Because those fucking kids have such like pauses between their lines. You could drive a truck through.
Oh man. Yeah. So no cold open. Right in the kitchen. Jennifer and her friend Frankie. Justin. I'm sorry. Justin.
Frankie, where the hell does that even come from?
I don't know, but I'm going to refer to him as Frankie for the next half hour.
Let's call him Frankie.
I think it's because later they all dress up like newsies.
Yes, I want to get to that later. We'll get to that. Oh, yes. But Jennifer and Justin, like, again, 2 J's, I don't know why they did that, are stacking papers for recycling.
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. A lot of papers, going to take it to the recycling bin. 82, it feels like that this was like this really big kind of starting point of the recycling movement. I remember, maybe a little bit later, but I remember there was that big special, I think on NBC, where they had all these stars talking about conserving and recycling, and it was like shown in schools and stuff like that. I think this was kind of like the starting point of, hey, we need to start recycling.
Yeah, well, you had the 70s. When did Arbor Day begin, Corey? I didn't get to look this one up. Thanks for throwing me to the wolves, Scott.
I'm guessing before I was born?
No, Arbor Day was in the 70s, I thought. Or Earth Day. Earth Day.
Earth Day. Oh, no, Earth Day is different.
Yeah.
Earth Day, April 21st.
Okay.
Which just happens to be my father-in-law's birthday, and my father-in-law's an environmentalist. Isn't that funny? My father-in-law's, who saves the Earth, his birthday is Earth Day.
It was preordained.
That's amazing. That's like John Adams and Thomas Jefferson dying on the same day, 4th of July.
That is weird.
Yeah.
This Earth Day did start in the late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah.
It had to,
and that was like post the oil crisis, I'm guessing, and then you had Carter's Malaise speech that got him not reelected.
Right.
You know, and so on the left in America in the early 80s, it was very much we don't have enough natural resources in the world. Very like Malthusian, if you will. There's too many people, there's not enough resources, and we need to conserve. And then Reagan was very much capitalizing on the idea of, I just want to be happy. I don't want to have choices limited. I want to be free to do what I want. And that's what you're
get yours. It was very much get yours. Take care of yourself, you know.
So maybe that's the reason, maybe Alex's reaction to the recycling is, recycling, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Which would
Which is-
never be said on television today
Really,
at all.
what character is going to say recycling is ridiculous?
Yeah, yeah.
But was that a conservative point of view of recycling? Like, was
That's
that?
what I don't know. But
It feels like it is.
It's the equivalent today of people who are senators or congressmen getting up and saying there is no such thing as global warming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
you're
That's
starting
exactly
to
what I
see
thought. Yeah.
you're starting to see a slow march from there even. If that's the
Mhm.
thing with conservatives. They always move the goalposts, and they're always proven wrong, and then they have new goalposts. And
Exactly, they have to reset every time.
in 82, you had
Right.
recycling was ridiculous. About 5 years ago, even a couple years ago, you had there is no global warming, and now they're starting to say there is global warming. However, it's not man-made. So, like, that's what the new Republicans in the Senate, which is like, you know, the most reasonable of Republicans saying
Yes,
that it
right.
does exist.
By comparison, of course.
Yeah, and so you're just, you know, seeing the march backward. But it is really funny to see him arguing it as a point of, and that's the thing, it's like, he's almost arguing from the point of true conservatism, where it's just laziness. Like, he's like, I have the garbage can here.
But I'm not going to put the newspaper in that garbage can. That's too much effort.
Right. Exactly. And
Effort I could be using to make money at this time.
Right.
It even goes on to say, it's nature. I want to go buy something, and then I want to throw it away. Nature. The environment will take care of it.
That's almost verbatim, folks. That's what the line of dialogue that Alex says.
I like to think I added a little bit of, like, you know, 1950s New York guy on that. I want to go buy something. I want to throw it away. Hey!
And how many papers does Alex Keaton keep around?
Well,
That's a lot of...
They have 3 very evenly stacked stacks of newspaper in front of the kitchen island.
Yeah. Each as tall as these children. Like, the stacks are about 3-4 feet tall.
About the same size as Alex P. Keaton.
Oh!
Yep. Which I meant to mention in last week's episode. That
was a short joke.
We had the first short joke.
Yep, I wrote it down also. There was a short joke.
Mallory makes a joke about Alex being short, and twice in the last episode, when he's talking to Mallory, he says sorry. So that's the first appearance that we had.
I heard that too, the Canadian accent coming in.
Yeah.
It's funny, I knew the short jokes would come in after the pilot, because remember, pilots aren't written before a show is cast.
Right.
And then subsequently, then you start to make comments about the actual actors who you have there. So once you got Michael J. Fox, it's too easy. Throw in a short joke.
How many short jokes can we get?
I'm curious to see if it comes up over and over again.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to. I have a feeling it's going to. And so Jennifer Justin's getting ready for recycling, and then there's a lot of It's like a French farce with this phone. A lot of calling. Oh my God, they get so much mileage out of this phone.
That phone business is ridiculous. Boy,
It's not. And again, a very complicated setup for a joke. It's her friends calling, asking for Justin's mother, not just calling to make fun of Jennifer. Can I speak to Jennifer? But is Justin's mother there? Again, just overcomplicated. But
I think we are doing a misread because she misread her lines. I think that if she were a better actor, she could convey. No, she could convey that. What the kids are doing is they're calling. I'm gonna pretend to be a kid, and they're like, Mrs. Perkins, meaning that she's married to Justin. But then everyone's being like, oh, they're talking. They're calling for your mom as opposed to.
So
and then
they're calling her.
Mrs. Perkins. Mrs. Perkins. Yeah, okay.
And she's misinterpreting it as they're asking for Justin's mother, but they're calling her Mrs. Perkins.
Right.
Gotcha.
And this kid. Holy shit! If there were ever not a well-adjusted,
I'm worried about this kid. I'm really worried about this kid.
They still haven't found the Zodiac killer. I'm just saying.
According to IMDb, the kid hasn't worked since '78.
Yeah.
He got out of the game.
He's an opera singer now. I found he's now an opera singer.
And thank God for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was worried. Like talk about overly sensitive and just not adjusted at all. Yeah, and clingy. God, is he clingy?
Boy, he doesn't want it. Once he loses Jennifer, he goes after Steven as his best friend. I mean, it never stops. Don't you have? Where are his parents?
Yeah.
I think he's the 1.0 of Skippy.
Yeah, he is.
It's pre-Skippy.
It's pre-Skippy. Yeah. It's definitely pre-Skippy. This episode just got it tried to be overly cute, just so overly cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so it's Jennifer's birthday coming up, we find out, and Mallory suggests having a theme for the 1950s, which reminded me, like, I think in the 80s there was this fascination with the 50s.
Absolutely, the Grease phenomenon.
The Grease phenomenon. 50s theme restaurants were all over. There was like a little 50s. Yeah, there was a 50s themed diner right down from where I live, and it was like a big deal to go there and get like a chocolate malt and stuff like that.
It was a big deal in your hometown for indoor plumbing, wasn't it?
That's true. That's true. We were very excited when we got it. It changed everything for us.
But here in LA, there was a restaurant. Do you guys remember? Was Ed DeBevick's around when you were here?
No.
It was like on a restaurant row on La Cienega, and it was like a 50s restaurant where the waiters and waitresses came over and harassed you. They were mean and nasty to the customers.
So how long did you work there, Corey?
Always thought it was the perfect job for me.
It would be so perfect for you. So perfect for you. There was at MGM Studios in Orlando, there was a restaurant called Mom's where the waitress would act like your mom and like scold you if you ate the rolls before your meal came out and everything. It was fucking annoying.
I don't like really any of those interactive places where let me just eat my meal and go home.
No, it's just I don't need a show. I don't need a show.
No, it's like medieval times. No, if I wanted to watch jousting, I go to a Renaissance fair. I don't want a meal and jousting, and to have to say huzzah.
Yeah, it's annoying, but there was the theme restaurants. I mean, Back to the Future, which is a couple of years later, goes back to 1955. Like the 50s were really in the consciousness of the 80s.
I think it was a dual thing that was going on. I think it was that it was 30 years before. And so as a generation always looks back to the generation before it, kids today. I was just going to, I was looking at the math and I was like, yeah, a 16-year-old today would be like, let's have an 80s party.
They have a 90s party. They have 90s days.
Yeah, we're starting to get that old. Yeah, exactly. And the culture is speeding up too. But I would say also, so it was that, but also with Reagan, with the pulling back, the 50s was a time that I think in the 80s people were looking as an idyllic era. When you could leave your doors open. I feel like there was a lot of, and this is not so subliminal racism, where it was like, in the 60s, that's when all the crime started to happen. That's when all the riots started to happen. That's when people had to, that was
code.
White, yeah, exactly. White flight from the city, so, and stuff like that. And, oh no, did we lose someone?
Did we lose? No, I was just my 20%, the phone goes crazy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I think the 50s had a lot of loaded terminology when people would use it, but it was also just the time that had passed. It was a perfect time that was the generation before.
Yeah, you could even argue, I mean, with the GOP today, they kind of keep harping on this golden age of America. I think, to some extent, the 80s, but I think they really still cling to that 50s notion. When this was when America was great, and you had Main Street, and we were thriving economically.
Yeah.
The 50s seemed to still.
And I mean that could be you could argue that was the third part of it too. That there was for white middle class, there was a white middle class in the 50s that changed.
Yes, absolutely.
Changed greatly in the 60s with companies going overseas, and then union breaking in the 70s and stuff like that. So I would say that would be the third leg in that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Right, absolutely. And again, Alex is like very political in this episode. Not only do we talk about the recycling, but there's this line about food stamps that struck at me like that's still going on today.
It sure is. It's the typical What's the quote? Guys know what it is? It's a Republican quote that we hear almost today.
What he said in the newspaper, or what they say?
Yes, was it with the line
they don't show the other side. Yeah, they don't show the other side of that.
Other side.
Oh, the biased reporting.
Somebody's
in the
about to lose their food stamps. Is that what it is? Or somebody's
getting
food stamps?
Right.
Yeah. So he comes up to Elise and he's like, this newspaper, look at this biased reporting. And then she reads it and it's widowed mother of 12 denied food stamps. And then she reads judge dismisses. These things happen, them's the breaks, next case. And then she's like, yeah.
Them's the breaks.
And Alex goes, they don't show the other side of that.
Right.
Which still is so freaking relevant. Yes!
And of course, the liberal joke is there is no other side of that.
Right, exactly.
The liberal response is there is only one side to that, you fools. But the Republicans and the Alex P. Keatons of this world think there is, because you know why? There's some food stamps because she doesn't go out and get a job. She has too many children.
Right. And
it doesn't mean society is supposed to ignore her.
Exactly.
And that was just the year before. I'm sorry.
No. I was just like, it strikes me like the freaking GOP doesn't let anything go. They still cling to that shit.
Yep.
That is still resonating today. Yeah.
Paul, you were saying? 81 was when Reagan passed a budget bill. That's when Reaganomics started. I mean, this is like in this episode too, where they talk about Reaganomics for the first time.
Yep.
That So Reaganomics was cutting marginal rate for income. It was cutting domestic spending, amping up military spending, and then relying on supply side economics to then build up the tax rate, the money the government would get, because you're cutting taxes, so then people make more money because they want to work harder because it's not getting taken away, and then it's just so stupid. And but the food stamp thing was something that they passed in 81, so that narrative, and then in 76 was when the Reagan talked about the welfare queen, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is what's going on when they bring this up. Like saying the widowed mother, I think, is trying to talk about the welfare queen thing of Reagan.
Yeah, it seems like a shot like that. Yeah. But it's there was a lot for such a cute episode. There was a lot of political stuff going on because not only did we talk about the recycling and the food stamps, but there's a lot of talk, especially from Elise, and again, made me love Meredith Baxter Burney even more, of gender roles. Because eventually it gets to the point where Jennifer is sick of being teased by her friends because she's hanging out with a boy. And so she gets rid of Justin. She doesn't want to hang out with Justin. She tells Justin, she doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And Elise has this great heart-to-heart talk with her about, I think you're letting your friends pick who you should be friends with, and why can't you be friends with a boy?
You said Elise, and the first thing I wrote down in my notes is how cute does Meredith Baxter Burney look in those khaki shorts?
It's true. It's true.
She's so adorable at this time. And then during that heart-to-heart talk with Jennifer, she says a line that I had to replay over and over and over again in retrospect, because it's only funny in hindsight. The quote is, "I have a great time when I get together with my women friends." Well, Meredith Baxter Burney,
you sure do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, she does.
Amazing.
Yes, I just thought, wow, that's so funny. 30 years later, that's hilarious.
You're absolutely right. I did not pick up on that. Oh my God, that's awesome.
No, I mean, the fact that we're going as we are, it's kind of a weird episode, and is that the same argument seems to be happening throughout it. The plot doesn't really go anywhere because you're constantly counting on Jennifer to push the story, and she just can't push the story.
No, she can't. It
Yeah.
becomes a very repetitive episode of trying to get through to Jennifer that it's all right to be friends with Dustin.
Right.
And there's very little B story. I couldn't even find really a B story going on.
I don't know. I'm looking at my notes right now, and I still can't tell you what the B story is.
Yeah.
I don't really think there is. I mean, it just, maybe it's almost like the pilot. They'll have one or two jokes of an idea, but they don't
and
go anywhere.
And there's so little Alex in this episode, ultimately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it almost felt like they, like, for these past two episodes, they, because Alex kind of has kind of broke out in the first episode. There's a good focus on him. The second one is very much Mallory, establishing Mallory. This one seems like it's trying to establish Jennifer, but they give the full episode to Jennifer, which doesn't work. It gets too cutesy. She's
just not really strong enough. She doesn't have enough color. She doesn't have enough tricks in her bag right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
To be able to pull this one off. Justine Bateman was a lot more effective in episode 2. That she can handle it. But, I give the writers credit for at least trying it out. You know what I'm saying? They at least tried it out. Let's see how it works with her. Let's see if we can get her to do something. Because you're never going to get more out of her if you don't give her something to do.
Yeah. Right. As far as a plotted episode, it's really not good. But as far as the messaging and the relationships it builds amongst the characters, I found it very interesting. I thought this episode wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to that scene in the bedroom, like, Elise flashing back to how her mother said a lady should be. Mm-hmm. And she's so not that. She's the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really sweet of her imparting that to Jennifer.
And can I, as we're just, sort of picking and choosing scenes and stuff like that to investigate, one thing that happens is after Jennifer and Justin go and take all of the newspaper to the recycling, they get money. They get 77 cents. And she's like, this is nothing. This isn't going to help the bald eagle. And then Elise says, well, Jennifer, I don't have any loose change. If I give you this $1, because I need the loose change, and she's like, oh yeah, and then Steven's like, I don't have any singles, or maybe it goes the other way. The dad.
No, you're right. It was Elise, then Steven, and then Alex.
Yeah, and then Steven's like, I don't have any ones. Can I give you this 5? And then Alex is like, I can get you your 77 cents back. Which is a great punchline. However,
I thought it was a really funny sequence. I thought
it was good.
Very solid.
It was really funny and really a great example of, in the pilot of The Cosby Show, the famous segment is where Theo wants to drop out of school, and Bill Cosby doesn't let him, and he takes him upstairs to his room and shows him the Monopoly scene, where he's like, here's how much money you're going to get a week with this job.
Yep.
And then you're going to have to pay for this. You want clothes? You want to go out on a date and all that stuff. I think this is an excellent example for kids because it's such a weird thing to explain how government subsidy works and like Keynesian economics. For kids, this is such an interesting thing because it's really funny, and it also explains how if you want a certain effect to happen, like you see this positive externality in the world, but it doesn't it's not cost effective, a government can jump in to let the populace do this thing. Whether it's like tax subsidies for if you're a parent with children, then you get lower taxes, or like stuff like that. It's I thought that was really interesting and funny.
Yeah, I agree.
I really thought that, you look at it from a point of view as economics and what was going on in the times, and I look at it as a Jewish parent that Jennifer she screwed her folks out of $4.23. That's all I look at. Somehow or another, she got $4.23 that she shouldn't have in her pocket. She didn't earn it. She shouldn't have it.
And What is she gonna
Maybe.
spend it on? Wait, what she? Well, she.
Oh.
What's weird is again, like, because she was gonna give it to animal shelter, right?
That's right, the World
Mhm.
Wildlife Fund or something.
Right,
Right.
right. It just seems like again, like Elise and Steve becomes, you know what? How about we take this? We'll give you a little extra money to donate to the World Wildlife Fund. But
But
again, it was a great bit.
have you ever tried raising money from recycling and you do walk away from it with something like 77 cents and you think to yourself,
Yeah,
Oh,
all
sure.
the
yeah.
that moldy bottles of soda that I've been saving in all that space I've been taking up, and my hands are now syrupy and disgusting. And what did I get? $1.45.
Yep. Yep.
It's not worth it.
So I'm thinking, 77 cents by 1980 standards isn't that bad.
Oh, I guess not. If you could look back at it and think, yeah, she did pretty good on it.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for a kid.
Mhm.
Okay, so they go with the 1950s theme party, and something really popped out at me that I loved was Steven renting a jukebox, and I loved it
Yes.
because again, that was something that was big back then. I remember my parents throwing a party, and the big thing was they decided to rent a jukebox and pick out all the songs
What?
that they want. Yeah, it was awesome. You would call it, like, if you're having a party, like a big thing to do, like if you wanted to up the ante of your party, it's like, let's rent a jukebox and have music going on. It was and even now, as I'm saying, it's such a bizarre thing, but I just remember
I'm
loving it.
flabbergasted.
Yeah,
Corey, did you do this?
I have no recollection of when I went to a restaurant and there was a jukebox, that was exciting. But I
Yeah.
can remember people renting jukeboxes for parties. Yeah.
yeah.
It was
Wow.
the equivalent of now maybe somebody might rent a karaoke machine or
Mhm.
have some sort of an equipment, but that would be sort of really fun. But I can imagine they go over about what songs Steven has in the jukebox, just like you said
Yeah.
about your parents, Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
big
like
deal.
making a playlist today. Right.
Yeah,
Right, it was
absolutely, or a mixtape.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
it's such a nostalgic thing for me. I mean, we would all sit around our indoor plumbing and pop a quarter in the jukebox and just listen away.
I love the idea of like you having to put a quarter in, like that they didn't.
Of your own
Like,
jukebox,
You
they just
rented-
paid for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The rental fee is $25 a day plus
It's like,
all the quarters
sorry,
that
Scott,
you put
we
in.
got the jukebox, but we can't play anything on
Quarter.
because we don't have any quarters.
Don't have no quarters.
Oh, Daddy. Well, it sure is pretty to look at. Um, so the party happens. Everyone's looking 1950s. Alex has the whole Wild Ones leather jacket, slick back hair look going on, which
Looking
kind of
good.
looking good.
Mhm.
MJF looking good. Um, okay, so the girls come over. They're all dressed, poodle skirts and everything. Then the boys come in, and they don't look anything like the 1950s. They look like 1930s street urchins.
Yeah, they look like baristas at my local Blue Bottle coffee shop.
They look like baristas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you notice how they came into the house en masse also, like they all
Yeah.
just walked in at the same time. They like flooded the place.
They'd all been hanging
like
outside the
if it were
door.
if it were a Shakespeare script, it would be like exeunt.
Yeah, that's it. The whole cast enters and exits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was just it felt like wardrobe had just given up with dressing the boys for this episode.
Well, it's
like,
what,
they
it's
couldn't
the extras. It's the extra call. They asked them to bring stuff. Nobody brought stuff, and then they put them on set anyway. It didn't even stop them.
it was like, look, we have this box
Wow.
of flat caps. Just put them on them.
Put them on.
It'll work. There were flat caps in the 50s, right? Put them on them.
So through this whole episode, we're having this debate of she doesn't want to be Justin's friend because he's a boy, and all of her girlfriends are like, he's a boy, so you shouldn't be friends with him. So that's like 18 minutes of that we're dealing with. And then,
Yeah.
But here's the thing: she's 9, and all the kids are 9 years old. Who is forcing this fucking birthday party on 9-year-olds.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Like, it's a lot
it was
of
never
pressure.
clear in the script. It was Mallory's idea, but what 9-year-old goes, that's a good idea. Let's have a 50s party.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like,
Don't
what
they want to go
9-year-old
bowling
doesn't
or
get to
play miniature golf or something like that?
Yeah, like what 9-year-old is like, isn't allowed to invite the people they want to invite to their party? Like, Elise, I'm guessing, is the one who did it, where she's like, no. We are going to make a point with this party.
Mhm.
You don't just get to invite your girlfriends. We're inviting all the boys and all the girls. What?
And hopefully they'll stand around like it's an Orthodox Jewish wedding.
Exactly. It was very separated. Yeah, I get the point of the message of, hey, you should be nice to your friend regardless of their gender, and you should be true to your good friends. But they really, it's like, not only should you be friends with Justin, but you need to go over there right now and ask him to dance in front of all your friends. Something that's for a 9-year-old is
that's good.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, it's just like, so yeah, the party's going on, and they're not dancing with each other, and then they assume that the best way to do it is, so they take polls where it's like 8 of the 10 kids will dance with a girl if asked, and then there's a Reaganomics joke, and then Mallory comes and is like, 9 of the 10 girls will dance if asked, and the guy has to be taller, which, fuck you fucking girls.
Fuck you. I wish they'd given a line to Michael J. Fox right then and there. That should have been a line from Michael J. Fox at some point, because fuck that.
They cut it for time, like the cold open.
Yeah.
But like, so that's set up. So there's like this bubbling thing of like, oh, we're gonna get the girls and boys to dance, and then so that happens, and so she's like, she has a fight with Elise, and then Elise is like, just go, be courageous, and he's your friend, and then she does, and everybody dances. But my takeaway of all of this is, why did they are 9 years old. Why are you forcing them? Like, this whole episode is about gender roles and who boys and girls are and why they can be friends, but you're literally dressing them up in a time where they couldn't have been more different. Girls are in poodle skirts. Boys are in jean jackets. And this is what a boy is, and this is what a girl is, literally to the point that this is when Stephen and Elise were children, and Elise is talking about how her mom told her what little girls are in the 50s. And so and then you're forcing them all to dance together. You're forcing them into sexual situations where boys and girls are now dancing. And it's just like, what is the fucking message here? It's insane.
It was a really strange choice on their part. I thought that 50s party. I thought it handcuffed them, and I didn't think they could get out of it.
Yeah, it was like to kind of go with what you were saying, Paul. It was like they were like, okay, the 50s, sexist time, and now the 80s are different. But we still kind of love the 50s too. It was, there were some great things about it that we liked. So it was really weird. The irony was so thick in it. It was so odd.
It's like they're going back to go into the future.
To
First we referenced
1955.
Teen Wolf, now we reference Back to the Future. Could it be long before you make a Doc Hollywood reference?
We got to get to at least 1986 before we get to that. But yes, I'm sure there will be a Doc Hollywood reference.
One of the records that Steven was excited about was having the Penguins' Earth Angel, which is what they play at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
They are building up Michael J. Fox's career so much already in 3 episodes. It's like preordained.
This is all a conspiracy between Jay Tarsis and the rest of the writers from the Bob Newhart show.
Oh, I will make him a star. He will be a star.
Who says that the party has intersexual contact? Somebody used the term intersexual. Alex says it's intersexual.
Like...
I'm not even sure what that means.
I don't either.
Intersexual. Oh, there's boys and girls?
Yeah, and Steven didn't get it either. It's like, I think his punchline was, it sounds weird when you say it or something like that. It was... But yeah, Paul, there was so much pressure for this 9-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah.
There's just way too much pressure. Like, even in, I mean, like, she's not even in middle school yet, and that's still, like, when you go to a school dance in middle school, there's still, like, division between the sexes. Like, it's weird to even ask someone to dance.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And this is their parents forcing this party to exist.
Yeah. They're, like, living vicariously through Jennifer.
Yeah.
And then once they start trying to force the dancing at the party, it goes even further downhill, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Back to the Future level of incest between Alex and Mallory dancing?
Yes, Alex and Mallory dancing weirded me out a little bit.
It was a little weird. I thought it was a little weird. Like, it was, one, because it was like a slow romantic song, which was creepy enough with Jennifer and Justin.
Justin. Mm-hmm.
That was a little weird. Okay, then it goes back to being sweet with Elise and Steven. And then they
weird
just, like,
again.
Weird again. Really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really weird at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we just can't leave Alex and Mallory in the corner, but they have no one to dance with.
And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah, you could have just had them stand there. It would have been fine.
It would have been fine. Or if you wanted to cute it up, have, like, one of the little girls go over to Alex and ask to dance. That would have been
a very cute idea.
It would have been sweet, right?
Because it was girls' choice. That was the whole thing. Oh,
exactly. See, god damn it, where was I back? I was too young to write for this back then.
Now, there's another moment. First of all, I want to talk about Justin's glasses for a moment. If you look at Elton John's first album, those glasses are Elton John's glasses from his first album cover.
Wow.
The double nose bridge and teardrop-shaped glasses. If you're home, go find your Elton John album. It looks just like it.
Or watch the Sunday night movie My Name is Steven. And what the child molester wears in that. Those glasses.
Oh, my God.
Oh. Again, I'm worried about Justin. I'm really worried about Justin.
Now, Mallory is carrying, towards the end of the show, of the episode, Mallory has a big bag in her hands. And I was trying to figure out, what does she have a big bag of? I couldn't. It looked like it was like styrofoam balls or packing peanuts or something. That she has a giant bag that has no weight to it whatsoever.
When does that happen?
She's holding this big bag.
Huh.
It's in the family scene. It's I have the scenes separated, and yet I couldn't quite tell the acts in the show because there was no B plot.
Yeah. What was it? Was it when they were bringing in groceries?
Yes, it was at groceries towards the end.
Because there was also a big health food movement going on in this too, as well.
Oh yes, talking about bulgur.
Bulgur, yeah.
Like making tabbouleh is the most exotic thing in the entire world. Bulgur. Oh, they were eating bulgur. Isn't that a type of wheat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, it was just very. It felt like overall the episode felt just very one note. Like there was like it would have been nice to have something else going on other than Jennifer and her. That we could
get away from that plot for a moment. Just a moment's respite would have been nice.
That's the thing, and you guys keep bringing up topics that I totally have forgotten or didn't write down. Where it's like this episode is a mile long and an inch thick. It's just like so much. So
absolutely.
Health food movement and recycling
and the pressure to dance. Like it was just.
It's 18 minutes of Jennifer and Justin, and the episode's only 22 minutes long, so we only have 4 minutes away from Jennifer and Justin, really.
And the rest is spent on bulgur.
Now, they do have that scene at the very end of the episode in Jennifer's room with Elise talking to her, first on the window seat, then they move to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much crap does Jennifer have in her room? Now, I've never had a little girl, nor have I ever had a sister.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, do you have a sister?
I have a sister, yeah. She's 3 years younger than me. Yeah, go ahead. Your question.
Did she have crap all over her bed like that?
Yes, actually, that was believable for me. That
okay.
this was 80. So this was 82, Yeah, this was like Cabbage Patch Dolls were really big. I know my sister had a ton
Mm-hmm.
of those. Like, yeah, just a lot. Yeah, it didn't surprise me there was that much stuff on the bed.
So they kept on throwing stuff of Jennifer's off the
Yeah,
bed, and it went
pillows,
on for a
dolls,
substantially long
stuffed
period of
animals.
time.
Yeah, that's a very girly thing back then. Yeah.
I feel like it was some like mise en scène too of like she's a tomboy, so she's not clean, like that sort of
Yeah.
stuff too.
Absolutely. I think that they're still building those children's characters. You know how
Yeah.
we talk about Mallory being smarter than the dumb girl who eventually was? Well, they settled on the very beginning that Jennifer was the tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were going for with a lot of the little details in this episode, is reinforcing the fact that Jennifer's character is that of the tomboy. That's the point. That's the part she plays.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But even,
which I think maybe they forgot later on, but.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even still, and it feels like they don't even go full force with it either. Like, because then her room is very
half-assed.
girly. She looks, she's it's something. Yeah, it's so her character already kind of starts off a little muddled.
She's reading an issue of Sports Illustrated when she's.
I was hoping you knew which one it was.
But what was really weird, it was Sports Illustrated, but what was really weird was, and this is the first time I've ever noticed that in this show, there was a continuity problem. They had one cover on the first shot, and then they go back to another shot. They go to the reverse of Elise, and then they go back to Jennifer. There's a different cover on Sports Illustrated. It's a completely different cover.
Weird.
Hey, wow, good
So
eye.
there was a little continuity issue. They must have changed something, or she had it folded back, or there was something weird. But I went back and looked at it a couple of times. It was like, nope, there's definitely two covers there on Sports Illustrated.
You know what? I'm just going to venture a guess, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they used different recordings. Like, I bet they went back to the dress rehearsal.
Absolutely.
Because you had bad performance issues in the editing.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, that line that she's doing is just not great, so let's
We just have to pull it from something else, and fuck it, no one will ever realize that that there's no content.
Right.
They didn't know Corey Pepper had his fucking...
or that I have remote control that goes back a second and forward a second.
Oh, we were able to get past these guys back then, but now every continuity issue. So yeah, guys, did we cover everything? I think we did.
Think so.
There's not much to cover.
This episode doesn't have a lot to cover. If you start in the first scene, you're still covering the whole episode.
Right. It's just the same thing. Like you said, it's so repetitive.
A small thing is that at one point Steven talks about how in 1959 he worked at the Paradise Hotel in Atlantic City when he was 17. I'm sorry. And I just thought that was interesting.
Try doing the math there. I did the math when he said that. It was 59. That would be 69. That would be 25 years ago.
Yeah.
How old is he supposed to be?
I always thought mid to late 30s.
That's what I thought too.
So go back 25 years. When was he working in Atlantic City? When he was 12?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
shit.
Math doesn't work.
That's the case. Unless he's supposed to be more in his 40s, but it doesn't feel like that though. Yeah.
Not until he grows his beard.
Right, and I'm wondering if that's what. Yeah. I'm wondering if that was the case of why they.
He's pretty gray. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be unbelievable if he was in his 40s.
No, that wouldn't be unbelievable.
Right. But yeah, I just want to say, Justin, if you're out there, we're concerned about you. Please let
contact someone. Contact one of the three of us, please.
Hopefully you've gotten some help.
Quality time with FamilyTimes@gmail.com.
That's right. That's right. For any questions and comments, you can email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at QTWFT for all our updates. You can also follow each one of us. I'm at Follow Jones. Paul?
At Paul Packler.
And Corey?
And I'm at Corpep.
All right. And like our Facebook page, rate us on iTunes, tell your friends and family. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media providing its readers with daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture. Check them out at fanboycomics.net. Also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties and our theme song, Without Us. Check out Perry's website at perryadams.com. And if you're in New York on March 8th, see her perform at Arlene's Grocery at 7 p.m. We also like to thank... Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, this might get released, so it might be right around the time that she's doing it, so hopefully you guys can make it. Otherwise, this might be outdated.
If this is outdated, then we hope you saw Perry perform March 8th at Arlene's Grocery at 7 p.m.
It was amazing.
Incredible show.
It was a great show.
Incredible show. And we also like to thank Bryant Dillon, who created our fantastic logo and artwork. Bryant is the president and co-founder of Fanboy Comics, and follow him at Comic Book Slayer on Twitter. Guys, once again, another episode down, and we will see everyone next week.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.